The PS5 outsold the Xbox by 50 million units. That's not a war, that's a massacre. Today we'll dissect how badly they lost, why that happened, and how Microsoft just took that on the chin and is now trying to make a real competitor. This is a new series I call Autopsy, where I boil down events to see what happened with a little bit of a business perspective. Both companies released their next-gen consoles in November 2020, with the Xbox coming out 2 days before. The powerful version was called the Series X, while the more budget-friendly model was called the Series S. The PlayStation 5 had the same price as the Series X, while the PS5 Digital Edition was $100 more than the Series S. Both cheaper models had no disk drive, and that will come up later on. Okay. What I'm about to say may be considered blasphemy, but I don't think that performance played that big of a role here. Because the loading times, so when you click a game to when it opens, is measured in seconds, not minutes compared to the previous generation. For the less powerful Series S, you save $200. And gamers in your bubble, don't forget that there are people who don't know what 720, 1080, 1440, or 4K even mean. So they just got a console that works, plays the games that they want, and they're happy with it. However, with all that said, the Xbox did lose, and it wasn't even close. Even though the Xbox came out earlier and both were impossible to find, the PS5 took a lead and it just kept it going the whole way through. The PlayStation 5 sales are at 80 million as of June 30th, 2025, while the Xbox is at 30 to 35 million. They don't share their exact numbers, so that is an estimate. But either way, a clear loss. And I think that you can boil down their losses down to 3 reasons. First, the PS4 sold 117 million units as of June 30th, 2022, while the Xbox sold 58 million as of July 30th, 2023. And since both these consoles are backwards compatible, many people will just stick with their original system to maintain their giant collection of games. Second, the PS5 is a work of art. Now, I personally believe that it belongs in a museum, but maybe I'm biased, while the Xbox, it's just a box. Lastly, the PS5 had very fun exclusive games that you could play at launch. And what was the game that you could play only on Xbox? Forza? Well, now that's on PS5. So ultimately, to gamers, the Xbox was less attractive and less people chose to buy. However, if we take a look at this from Microsoft's perspective in terms of dollars generated, instead of units sold, it's actually a lot closer than you might think. Because when you release a new product, a lot of people buy it, so sales quickly ramp up, hitting their peak. It happened later for this generation due to supply constraints because of the whole global chip shortage and COVID. But as a result, as time passes, your moneymaker becomes less and less hardware and more software and additions. This includes game sales, DLC, their subscriptions like PS Plus and Xbox Game Pass. Microsoft has this one little thing that Sony doesn't. It's pretty niche. It's called Windows. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. Let me know if you've heard of it down below in the comments so I can gauge to see how popular it is. But anyway, jokes aside, unlike PlayStation, you don't need to have an Xbox to get the Game Pass subscription. It works on the PC too. And even on your phone if you have a strong enough internet connection. They're investing money into cloud gaming, which runs the games on Microsoft servers and then sends the visuals to your phone. So that way you can run AAA games on your 10-year-old tablet. By the way, if you want to learn more about Microsoft's full operations, including what they do, how they did in 2025, and everything related to their operations, check out that video right there and like and sub while you're at it. One of their goals is to make every device an Xbox. But no matter which one of these companies try to do cloud gaming, it does have a giant weakness. Because it takes time for you to input an action on a controller and then have that effect show up on screen. That's what's called latency. And generally, the closer you are to where the processing actually happens, the less of an issue it actually becomes. And if the processing is happening on a server miles away, you're gonna get a lot more latency compared to having an Xbox in your living room. For my non-gamer friends out there, if the game that you're playing is a slow, relaxed strategy game, a game like chess or something where you just walk out, explore, take in the beauty of the digital world, you'll be okay. But for competitive shooter games, it's different. I mean, imagine you and a friend playing catch. Your friend chucks the ball at you, you see the trajectory of the ball, and your brain sends the signal to your hand to move it in the right place to catch it. But all of a sudden, you freeze. And the thing with this freeze, you can't predict when it's going to happen, how long the freeze effect will last, and you can't even send more signals to your arm so you can make adjustments to actually catch the ball. And so you miss the very easy throw. Imagine that happening to a high-level professional athlete in a fast-paced game. You become basically useless. So cloud gaming isn't the silver bullet. Microsoft knows this though, and for the new Xbox, there are rumors that they are trying something a little bit different. Warning, what we are about to do is enter speculation territory. These have not been confirmed, these are rumors based on leaks. Some of them may even be false. The rumors say that they will be adding Steam, the Epic Games Store, and others to their new console. It's codenamed Xbox Magnus, and accompanying that, there will be a new chip targeting 4K 120Hz. And the thing is, it might even have a bigger price tag than the PS5 Pro. As for the PS6, well, the name I can guarantee. As for what it is, well, supposedly they'll have a handheld. That's maybe one of their options. That's all we know. And it'll probably come out later than the new Xbox because the PS5 is still a very capable, very well-selling machine. But if we were following the 7-year rule, it's supposedly going to come out in 2027. Okay, now, the next conversation that we're going to have is probably not going to be very exciting for gamers. Let's talk about disk support. It starts with a technical problem because the current disks can't store these games anymore. They are just too big now, and since these files will get transferred onto the console's SSD anyways, it's just a glorified piece of plastic with the code. It quite simply is no longer needed or useful if you want to play a game. Unless you live somewhere with little to no internet access, in which case, then it becomes really important to find the ones with actual discs with the actual games on it. They're still possible, but it's just not as popular anymore. Also, it costs money to bring that physical item to you, for shipping, manufacturing, and even design. And if you have a digital release, they'll just simply pass along those savings to you. Because we all live in a beautiful world where everybody likes each other and nobody would even think of screwing someone over. Companies are great. They're perfect. No, I'm not going to be a corporate shill and just ignore the companies who definitely will not pass along the cost savings. And might actually just raise prices because the used market price pressure might just disappear entirely. But look at this data. Sony customers are simply buying more digital games, especially for indies. AAA and AA games, maybe you might go physical for that. But convenience factor is very hard to beat. And the execs are also looking at this data. Sales went from 53% in 2019 to 74% in 2020, and now is at 83% digital today. COVID accelerated the transition, but it stayed, even though only 18% of PS5s are the digital edition. And now the new Pro model that they launched doesn't even come with the drive. I wouldn't be surprised if the next models of PlayStation didn't come with a disc drive and you have to buy it on as an addition. And that's just Sony. Xbox is even worse. Microsoft is not even releasing a physical copy for their own first-party games, like for example, Forza. That's not just some random game. And it's in all likelihood due to the even higher percent of digital sales for them. I could honestly see Microsoft skipping the disc drive entirely, not even with an additional add-on option. However, in Microsoft's case, they are allegedly adding more marketplaces like Steam and Epic. Microsoft may also just add a little Xbox tax on any games that are bought from there. So, although at this point they're still rumors, so let's not make any concrete judgments about them yet. That's the autopsy of PlayStation and Xbox. One dominated and one is making a pivot right now. The next chapter is currently being designed and we'll see who gets the last laugh. Anyway guys, thanks for watching, like, sub, and I'll see you in the next autopsy. Goodbye people.